Hey everybody,
39
welcome
minutes past
back.
the hour.
Today is July 29th, 2019. In this video, I'm going to be talking about two different shootings that occurred over the course of the weekend. On my channel, I talk about the language of numerology with a special focus on the code of letters and numbers called Gematria or Gematria. This ancient practice rooted in Jewish mysticism, both in the Hebrew and Greek alphabets, which did not have separate letter and numbering systems. Turns out this language is well and alive in the English alphabet. And when you compare these numbers to dates on the calendar, you find that these things are happening by a strange numeric code. And it is my contention, as well as the contention of many others, that these shootings are not all occurring naturally. That these shootings are either being staged, hoaxed, or coerced in some fashion, because they all seem to be happening by the same numeric code. This shooting at the Gilroy Garlic Festival is a perfect example. A man is said to have cut through the fence at the festival and then entered the festival randomly shooting people. Now, this makes absolutely no sense. Why would a person end his life just by shooting random people at a garlic festival? That's no way to go out in a blaze of glory. That's sad, pathetic, and doesn't make any sense. However, before anything was even known about the shooter or the circumstances surrounding the shooting, you saw politicians immediately taking the air asking for gun laws to be changed. Well, how do we know that if they restrict gun laws or add new restrictions, that this man would have been prevented from being able to buy a gun? If they don't know anything about his mental health state or anything else of that fashion, how do they know gun laws would help? But it doesn't matter. That's the first thing they say. Because eventually, the agenda is to get as many guns out of the hands of Americans as possible. This has already been done in other countries who believed their government when they said that guns were too dangerous. And hopefully in America, we're smarter than that. So to understand this code, we need to understand the basis of this language. And it turns out the English language is coded around the mathematics of the circle. Notice how the equation 22 divided by 7, when spelled out in the alphabetic order, equals 314. There are 360 degrees in the circle. 360 has an ordinal value of 227, which, again, 22 divided by 7 giving you pi. On a calculator, 22 divided by 7 is the smallest equation that gives you the digits 3.14. And on a Windows keyboard, Alt 227 will give you the pi symbol. In fact, if you've ever seen the movie Life of Pi, you may know that the main character was stranded for 227 days. So this is an occulted code, but very significant. In the Hebrew language, the phrase total eclipse equals 227. And this is interesting because an eclipse is an intersection of the two largest circles in the sky. And when a total eclipse occurs, you can look up and see the circle, the corona, so to speak. Now, if you measure to the date of the next total solar eclipse in December of 2020, we find it's a span of 72 weeks and 2 days after the Gilroy shooting. So how does this all connect to Gilroy, California and the Garlic Festival? Well, we'll get there. Notice how the word garlic has values of 50, 32, 112, and 40. This is the same as the word circle, which also sums to 50, 32, 112, and 40. The circle is the 15th letter of the alphabet. See how O, 15, ordinal? Since 3 people are said to have been killed, with 12 more being shot, we're being told that 15 people were hit by the gunfire. Now, another important part of this code is prime and triangular numbers. We're going to focus primarily on prime, as we usually do. Now, notice how the 15th prime number, remember 15 related to the circle, is 47. In Gematria, the circle equals 47 in reduction. Notice how the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, whose emblem contains the compass and square, has a compass that's set to 47 degrees. Again, the tool used to draw the circle. In the English language, the phrase total eclipse equals 47. Again, the eclipse related to the circles. The date of the shooting was July 28th, yesterday. And notice how this has a life lesson number of 47. 7 plus 28 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9. The primary numerology was 74. This is the value of such words as Masonic, the word killing, 74. Active shooter has 74 Gematria in reverse. Notice how Gilroy, California even has the 74, the site of this shooting. Of course, this code of letters and numbers, called Simple English Gematria, Simple 74, English 74, Gematria 74. And again, it's the eclipse crucifixion code, which has to do with the crucifixion of Jesus. These events all related to total solar eclipses. Worth mentioning, eclipse crucifixion code equals 227, the same value as total eclipse in Hebrew. So moving on, the number 47 also found in the gematria of the word killing, and this really proves to be the basis of this code. 47, the number of foundation. In Freemasonry, it's the 47th problem of Euclid that describes how to build foundation. The word authority, 47. Government, 47. They only give us two parties in America. You're either Republican or you're Democrat, but either way, you're 47. And then CNN, of course, fully aware of this language. They've changed their headlines since I posted this story, but they did give us a headline that had gematria of 470. I guess we'll take a quick gander here. And, we do get some interesting numbers here. The 1211, pretty interesting. But let's focus on the gematria that CNN had first. Of course, the 47. We'll get deeper into that. But check this out. You write out the number 47, the number that I'm talking about being so significant here, to the date numerology. Notice how this sums to 149. Well, if you look up Gilroy, California on Wikipedia, you'll see that the city was established in the year 1870, which means measuring from the date of their establishment to the date of the shooting is 149 years. The 149th prime number is 859, and CNN's headline in the alphabetic order gave us gematria of 859. How interesting is that? Also notice 47 in the reverse alphabetic order. It sums to 121. Gilroy Garlic Festival also summing to 121 in reverse. Gilroy located on the 121st meridian. Also notice they're on the 37th parallel. 37, the gematria of the word shooting. One last thing I noticed about the word 47 before we move on. Oh, no, we got more about 47. But notice how this sums to 50 in ordinal. Remember, garlic equals 50. Circle equals 50. Now, on this channel, there's a couple of large number ciphers that I teach, and we're going to take a look at those now. First of all, we have English extended on the left, and this uses the current 26-letter alphabet, amplifying the numeric values instead of reducing them. Very significant cipher. And on the right, you see Jewish or Latin gematria. Same idea, structured similarly, but uses the original Latin alphabet with English modern characters placed at the end. So check out how in English extended, you write this out, 47. It sums to 1616 in English extended. Now, if you measure from the date of the shooting to the date of the next total solar eclipse, you get exactly 16 months and 16 days. But here's where it gets interesting. You include the end dates, you get 16 months and 7 days. Or, I'm sorry, 16 months, 17 days. And this shooting, which had everything to do with 47, happened at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. And check this out, 1617 in Jewish Gematria. I want to point out another connection in ordinal as well. Notice how this sums to 230. In numerology, this represents the number 23. And the 23rd prime number is 83. So here you have the circle in the alphabetic order, summing to 83. So a ritual that has everything to do with the mathematics of the circle and the number of days to the total eclipse, which, of course, as you can see through the numbers, is related to the circle. As far as the Gilroy Garlic Festival in English Gematria, we did have this 787 sequence. This is a sequence loved by the Freemasons, Freemasonry, 787. See how in reduction Freemasonry equals 58? Gilroy has about 58,000 people. And in the second half of this video, we're going to talk about a shooting in Brownsville, which also has 58,000 people, a mass shooting that happened just one day before. In fact, that city was founded in 1858, or the neighborhood, I should say. Gilroy was incorporated in the year 1870. Ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187 in the alphabetic order. This is a very significant number, the number of chapters in the Hebrew Torah. And check out the ordinal value, 448 of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. If you use prime numbers, which is the alphabetic order, but with associated primes instead of the normal 1 through 26, Garlic Festival equals 448. And there's so much more in this Gematria without getting sidetracked. I mean, 144 and 234. If you're familiar with my work, you know that the circle is said to be the mark of the beast. And I might have to dig this picture up. I know I have a picture that kind of describes how the circle is related to the beast. But I don't remember the URL. So this would have been useful to do before. All right, well, we'll get back there. Anyway, the circle, definitely the mark of the beast, as told through the numerology of Revelation. And mark of the beast, 144 and 234 as well. So, I talked about how even the witnesses in this story are coded by the numbers, but what I want to focus on is this motto of Freemasonry. And not to convolute things too much, but Freemasonry, a very famous, popular secret society, the one with probably the most members around the world. And if you know a Freemason, it's not very likely that he knows about what I'm talking about, but at the high levels, these secret societies are feeder systems into the dark occult. Now, Freemasonry has a phrase that in Latin says ordo ab chao, or chaos. Not really sure. But it translates in English to order out of chaos. Now, order out of chaos has a numeric value of 183. This was found in the Gematria of the witness who said that she stood 15 feet from someone who got shot, 183. Notice how this sums to 141 in the alphabetic order. Well, look at the number in the middle of the order out of chaos symbol, 33. Masonry, where the highest degree is the 33rd, Masonry equals 33. The number 33 also sums to 141, just like this witness. In the alphabetic order, 33 equals 156, and the date of this shooting leaves 156 days on the calendar. You reshuffle those numbers and you get the 33rd triangular number, which is the Gematria of Makita Price in the Satanic cipher. So 33. Again, Masonry 33. The police, which are closely intertwined with Masonry, also 33. They rule by secrecy. The phrase false flag, 33. Also, the word order equals 33. And again, this is an order out of chaos ritual. This witness's name, Price, 33. And look at the name of the shooter, Santino William Legan. His name equals 303. By the way, his name was announced today, the 210th day of the year. Santino William Legan equals 210. So with all these 33s surrounding this event, how interesting is it that if you add 3 plus 3, you get 6? And the youngest victim in this shooting is said to be 6-year-old Stephen Romero. And this is, of course, supposed to tug at your heartstrings, but how strange is it that Stephen equals 33? Romero, 33. And notice how CNN says it was a Gilroy council member who told them about the death. Fred M. Tovar? Tovar with no L, sorry. And this gives us a 1056. Well, that's the ordinal value, 156 of 33. Also in that Jewish cipher, false flag, 156. So we mentioned how that witness, her name was Makita Price, 141. This is interesting because it's also the gematria of the mayor of Gilroy, Roland Velasco, 141 and 210, just like the name of the shooter. I find it interesting that they say that he's the first Mexican mayor in the city's history. Mexico equals 33. So does the word Mexican. And when he was elected, they currently had the 33rd mayor in office. Now, if you measure from the date he was sworn in, which Google gives us as December 21st of 2016, to the date of the shooting, you get exactly a span of 2 years and 220 days. Order out of chaos sums to 222. Also notice the 75. The name Roland Velasco equals 75. I believe Makita Price, the witness, even equals 75. And if you measure to the governor of California's birthday from the date of the shooting, it was a span of 75 days away. Now, I believe the name of the shooter, well, we know the name of the shooter. I believe he's 19 years old, as being reported. And that's interesting because his name sums to 67, the 19th prime number. Something we see commonly. There's a little more here. The police chief of Gilroy has matching gematria with Gilroy Garlic Festival. It was 73, like the word Mason. So, I mean, watch the videos of this shooting yourself. Of course, there's no actual physical or video evidence of this shooting occurring. The most graphic line we got from any of the witnesses came from this woman, Makita Price, who was completely coded by the numbers. And she didn't sound all that terrified. She gave an interview the same day saying that someone running next to her was shot. So to me, it smells like a whole lot of bullshit. Because again, what's the motive here? People going out in a blaze of glory by killing random people at a garlic festival. These are jokes on the collective intelligence of the public. Next, we're going to look at a shooting that happened a day before. This was in a Brooklyn park in a neighborhood called Brownsville. And we're going to see how this is similarly numerically related to the state of New York and the numerology of the date. First of all, right here in the headline, 1 dead and 11 injured. This shooting was in both the city and state of New York, which sums to 111 in the alphabetic order. Now, one thing that I noticed is very interesting. I always mention how you want to look at the date that these states were admitted to the Union and measure to the date of these events to find significant numeric alignments, which I actually didn't do in the Garlic Festival shooting. But we know California became a state on 9/9 of 1850, which was, 322 days after their anniversary. Wow, there's so many connecting numbers connecting these two shootings. It's crazy. The 119 code also in this age. It was 6 weeks, 1 day before the state's anniversary. That's the Gematria of active shooter. Also, 43 days, active shooter equals the 43rd prime number in reverse. So, there's definitely something there. Now, the state of New York, on the other hand, celebrated its anniversary of being admitted to the Union on the date July 26th, just 1 day before this shooting. That means this state of New York was 231 years old on the date of the shooting. Now, recall earlier this year, New Hampshire turned 231 years old. And on that exact date, we got a story about a huge motorcycle accident where motorcyclists were killed, 7 of them. And that happened on New Hampshire's 231st birthday. So now, the day after New York's 231st, we get a festival shooting. Festival shooting equals 231 in the reverse alphabetic order. 231 is a triangular number. The 21st, notice the ordinal value. Festival shooting equals 201. Also notice the 75, pointing back to our order out of chaos code. The word order 75 in reverse. Hell, New World Order equals 75. So the state of California, their governor, we're talking about the New York shooting now. This is why I like to usually do 2 different videos. But the state of New York, their governor is currently Andrew Cuomo. And notice how he's the 56th governor of New York, right? The word anniversary has this value of 56. The festival that this occurred at was called Old Timers, which equals 56. Now, again, this event also related to the total solar eclipse code. If you measure from the date of this shooting to the date of the next total solar eclipse, it was 506 days away. In 2024, there will be another total solar eclipse whose path of totality actually crosses over the state of New York where this shooting occurred. And notice how that eclipse is 56 months later. Now, the 56th prime number is 263. And look at the value of Brownsville, Brooklyn. In the alphabetic order, it sums to 263. In English gematria, the word Masonic equals 263. In Jewish gematria, Masonic equals 223. Brooklyn, New York, the borough this shooting was in, sums to 223 in the alphabetic order. Brownsville, New York, sums to 2701. And this stands out for a special reason. 2701 is a really, really significant number. This is actually the Hebrew gematria of the very first verse of the Bible. And it's a triangular number, the 73rd triangular number. This is actually 37 times 73. So Brownsville, New York, having this direct connection to 73. If you use the S exception, Brownsville, New York, when abbreviated, sums to 73. The date of this shooting had full numerology of 73. Also notice the 46, because both those numbers are found in the gematria of the word sacrifice, 73 and 46. This shooting was in a park, which equals 46. In English gematria, the word sacrifice equals 226. And check out the gematria of Brownsville, New York, 2026. Again, these cities are selected because they have many, many numerical alignments, not just one or two, to the date numerology and this whole sacrifice code. There's a few more alignments, but, especially with the word shooting here, you can check the post out for more. But again, I want to point out that Gilroy, California, just like Brownsville, both have 58,000 residents. Remember, Freemasonry equals 58. The state of New York was 231 years and 1 day old. Well, that's interesting because if you use square numbers along with the alphabetic order, Freemasonry equals 2311. Using capital letters in a cipher called Frank Baconus, see how Freemasonry equals 277. The date of this shooting was the 27th of July, or 27/7. And notice, too, oh, wow, look at this. The 277th prime is 1787. Remember that 787 was the gematria of Freemasonry and Jewish. Anyway, this is also a prime number, the 59th prime. Freemasonry in the reverse alphabetic order equals 59. This is also the value of Freemasonry in Hebrew. This story involved the NYPD, which sums to 59. And the shooting was in a Brooklyn park, which equals 59. Now, this shooting happened late at night, so it didn't hit the news cycle until the 28th of July. New York Police Department in the alphabetic order equals 287, just like 28/7. So you wake up on 28/7, you find headline news from the New York Police Department. The mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, was a span of 287 days before his birthday. So there you have it. Very simple. You just type in the name of these cities, look at the date numerology, and everything falls in place. One thing I did look at earlier, but I didn't mention, is that Brownsville has values of 151 and 146. That's the same as anniversary. And again, this shooting falling just after New York celebrated its anniversary. Sometimes it seems all too clear. Oh, and check it out. I got 56 people watching, just like this number I focused on here in this video. Okay, guys. Thanks for everyone jumping in the live stream and contributing to the chat there. Appreciate it. Again, remember, these shootings, the giveaway is in the rhetoric. Think about the logic here, because there is none. You have elected officials, well, supposedly elected officials, who are supposed to be preserving our rights and protecting us. Yet without knowing anything about a shooting suspect or the circumstances under which he obtained a gun, these politicians are clamoring for changes in gun laws. This is illogical. It makes no sense. It's not patriotic, and it's not for the people. Think about this 5 or 6 years ago. We get a shooting, and immediately they start calling for gun law changes without any reason. This would have been absolutely abhorrent, and it still is. But the outrage is dangerously thinning about these stories. So I'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether or not these are staged rituals, with a dark agenda or if they're just occurring organically. Because if you believe the latter, I think we're in for a rude awakening one day. Thanks, everybody, for jumping in. Please do feel free to like, share, and subscribe, as this channel has faced censorship and, due to the constant tweaking of search algorithms, continues to face censorship. Without enough people waking up to this, we will never understand what's really happening in this world and what really needs to be done in order to effect change. So, it's on us to share this info and explain to people what we're really up against. Because until these societies are no longer allowed to infect our minds, humanity will continue to create cancer after cancer upon itself. Thanks again, everybody. Hope everyone enjoys your week. Peace, love, and God bless. See ya!